There are moments in motorsport history that define an era. Moments where innovation and tradition collide, where the roar of engines and the thrill of speed leave an indelible mark on the world. The 1965 Indianapolis 500 was one of those moments. It wasn't just a race, it was a seismic shift that redefined what was possible on the track. Imagine this, a race where the old guard faces off against the new, and the outcome is nothing short of revolutionary. Today, we're taking you back to that warm May day in 1965, to a race that altered the course of the Indianapolis 500 forever, a race where legends were made, where the impossible became possible, and where the world of racing was never the same again. By 1965, the Indianapolis 500 had already established itself as the crown jewel of American motorsport. It was where the best drivers from around the world came to prove themselves, a test of skill, speed, and endurance like no other. Yet even with its storied history, the race was at a crossroads. For decades, front-engine roadsters dominated the brickyard, symbols of American engineering, powerful, rugged, and reliable. But whispers of change were in the air. Rear-engine cars, already making waves in European circuits, began to challenge the status quo. Traditionalists scoffed, holding firm to the machines they believed embodied the spirit of American racing. But change was coming, and it had a name: Jim Clark. Imagine the scene. Jim Clark, a Scottish driver renowned for his Formula One dominance, arrives at Indianapolis with something to prove. He wasn't just another competitor, he was a game changer. Driving the Lotus 38, a rear-engine car designed by the brilliant Colin Chapman, Clark represented the future. The Lotus 38 wasn't just a car, it was a revolution in engineering. With its engine in the back, it boasted a lower center of gravity, superior aerodynamics, and unmatched handling. This car was a symbol of innovation, challenging the might of the traditional roadsters. The stakes were high, not just for Clark, but for the future of racing itself. As the green flag dropped on May 31st, 1965, the roar of 33 engines filled the air. Picture the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with its long straights and tight corners, a true test of both man and machine. And at the heart of it all was Jim Clark, his Lotus gliding through the turns with a grace and speed that left the competition in the dust. But this race wasn't without its drama. Imagine the tension as a mechanical failure forced Lloyd Ruby, a favorite to win, out of the race. The crowd watched in disbelief. Clark, however, was unfazed. Lap after lap, his Lotus 38 performed flawlessly, extending his lead with every turn. Then, in a twist no one saw coming, disaster struck. A crash involving another top contender brought the race to a halt. The silence in the stands was almost deafening as the safety crews rushed to the scene. The crowd held its breath, wondering what would happen next. When the race resumed, it was clear. The balance of power had shifted. The traditional front-engine cars struggled to keep up with the pace set by Clark's rear-engine machine. As the race entered its final stages, the tension was unbearable. Clark had built a commanding lead, but the track, worn and slick from the heat, was now a challenge in itself. Would Clark maintain his lead, or would the grueling conditions claim another victim? The final laps were a blur of speed and precision, with drivers pushing their cars to the limit. But Clark was unyielding. His smooth driving style and the superior design of the Lotus 38 kept him ahead, despite the relentless pressure. Picture the crowd, now on the edge of their seats, as Parnelli Jones, another top contender, suffered a mechanical issue, eliminating him from the race. The Indianapolis 500 had claimed yet another victim, leaving Clark with a clear path to victory. As the checkered flag finally waved, it wasn't just the end of a race, it was the end of an era. Jim Clark crossed the finish line with a commanding lead, securing a victory that sent shockwaves through the racing world. The dominance of the rear-engine car was undeniable. The traditional front-engine roadsters, once kings of the Indianapolis 500, were now relics of the past. The impact of this race was immediate and profound. Teams across motorsport scrambled to adopt the rear-engine design, knowing that the future of racing had arrived. The innovations from the 1965 Indianapolis 500, improved aerodynamics, better weight distribution, and more, set new standards that would influence everything from Formula One to the cars we drive today. Jim Clark's victory was more than just a win. It was a turning point that redefined motorsport. The success of the Lotus 38 paved the way for future innovations, inspiring engineers and designers to think outside the box. The rear-engine revolution that began in 1965 continues to influence race car design to this day. But perhaps the most significant legacy of the 1965 Indianapolis 500 is the cultural shift it signaled. The victory of the rear-engine Lotus 38 over the traditional front-engine roadsters marked a shift towards innovation and forward thinking in a sport that is constantly evolving. So, what if the 1965 Indianapolis 500 had been just another race? What if the old guard had held on for one more year? It's hard to imagine how different the world of motorsport might be today. But that's what makes this race so special. It wasn't just about who crossed the finish line first, it was about who changed the game. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What moments from the Indianapolis 500 stand out to you? How do you think the 1965 race shaped the future of motorsport? Share your insights in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into racing history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with your friends and fellow fans. Your support helps us bring more incredible stories from the world of racing to life. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most pivotal moments in motorsport history. Until next time, keep the engines roaring and the passion for racing alive.